Now, parents of children in senior high schools are calling on government to allow them pay for the feeding of their wards. According to them, the current situation of food shortages across second cycle institutions in Ghana is an indication that government alone cannot handle the cost of educating their wards. For those who spoke to the Super Morning Show on Joy FM, they said that they have started putting measures in place to deal with the gap being created. Ne Oraka Tete is one of such parents.
We want to pay so that they are fed. I mean, of course, they will not be given like a 5-star hotel treatment, but at least they should be able to have 3 square meals a day comfortably. So for some of us, we are prepared to pay if that will be enough to feed our children. Yes.
Now, have you offered to pay, and has anyone stopped you from doing so?
Well, once the government has not approved for the schools to collect money, I mean, as in the schools collecting the money, that cannot be done. But for us as PA, when we do any contribution, we buy the foodstuffs and deliver it to the school. That's what we are able to do for now. But I believe if it's made, if it is approved, and we are to even pay 500 cedis or 600 cedis, all put together just for feeding of our kids. I think that'll be fine. So that we take some burden of government, because it's become clear that, I mean, government alone cannot bear the cost of feeding or take of our children in school.
So what have you been able to do? I mean, obviously you can't just sit by while your child is fed porridge, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So what have you tried to do to, at least do something about their nutrition?
Well, for my ward, I have given him some money to go there. There are these ladies who sell in the school to go get some wache or some rice to eat. I mean, just to supplement what the school gives them.
And I mean, how is that? How is that working? Do you have any difficulty getting this money to your child? Are they able to eat 3 times a day from these ladies?
Well, for now, when school reopened and I took him, I gave him enough money to take care of that, and I'll be visiting him. So as I go, I'll give him some more just to be able to feed.
Now, a head teacher who spoke on the basis of anonymity spoke on the same show, the Super Morning Show, and also a professor of educational leadership at the University of Cape Coast, Professor George K.T. Odro, who also spoke on the same show, explained that a lot of things are happening, but it looks like a certain culture of silence is being developed at the second cycle level of education, and that has prevented a lot of headmasters from speaking up.
Thank you. Like the speaker, informed you last semester, 3 months or so, or 2 months, 3 weeks to the end of the semester, it wasn't easy. He clearly, put up, children were going to bed without food. If they had porridge, there was no sugar, no bread, and the quantity, Kojo, is an eyesore. You see, that is the problem. If your school is not so, I mean, the parents of your students are not proactive, like this gentleman said, they can't even contribute anything towards the feeding of the kids, so they will go hungry. So that is the situation we end the semester with. Opening this semester, the only thing is that some food stuff has been brought, but it will not last for even 1 month or even 3 weeks.
So
we were supposed to receive 18 items comprising of sugar, flour, Tom Brown, maize, what have you. Most schools have not even received 6 out of them. So you are giving beans, nothing else comes with the beans. You are giving tin tomato, you don't have anything to cook. I mean, the situation is not the best.
Let me ask you this. I mean, as a headmaster, hundreds of people have brought their children to you to look after them while they study. The funds to feed them are supposed to be coming from the government. The funds are not coming. These people's children are in your care. You can't feed them. You're giving them Tom Brown morning till evening. How does that make you feel as a custodian of people's children?
Kojo, we are all parents. The very first time it happened, I wept at the dining hall. I wept. The phone was like, Master, you anything? And that day, there was nothing. There was nothing. I only had, what do you call it, maize that we have put in water ready for meal. So it meant that they would eat cocoa in the morning, cocoa in the afternoon, cocoa in the day without sugar and bread. And the quantity, gosh, it's not the best.
Headmaster John, so let's just look at a few things. You've talked about the 18 items. I just want to do a quick, run through, for instance. You say not even up to 6. So I have, for instance, here with me quantities for 2022-2023 academic year, food basis per 1,000 students. But I'll not go into the specific basis. I'll just look at it. So maize, for instance, we're told that's what you use for your bankun, kenke, and akasa. Do you have them enough maize for
They are not
students?
enough.
You have enough?
They are not enough.
They're not
If
enough.
you supply a school that is serving about 850 students at a go with 10 bags of rice, that's 3.5 bags of rice a day. They eat 3.5 bags of rice a day. How long would that take?
Hold on a second. With rice, you're looking at according to what you've been giving, 50 kg to 300 students for jollof, rice porridge 50 kg to 1,000 students, plain rice 50 kg to 300 students, and rice balls 50 kg to 340 students. You say you have how many bags of rice?
You get 10 bags of rice.
They brought you 10 bags. 10
They brought you
bags of
10
what?
bags.
50 kg or what?
It's even less than that. It's even less than when you weigh them. You have 40, 43, you don't need 50.
And that's supposed to last you how many weeks?
Hello? Do we have Headmaster John on the line still? Right, I think we have to reconnect to Headmaster John. But let's also bring in Professor George K.T. Odru. He's a professor of educational leadership at the University of Ghana. Prof, thank you for your time with us this morning. Good morning to you.
Oh, good morning, Kojo.
So you've heard from a parent, you've heard from a headmaster. That is the reality of the situation in senior high schools. But there is you can hear how reluctant this parent and headmaster are to actually be specific about which schools in which these things are happening. There is a reluctance to speak up about this. What's that about?
Okay, Kojo, thank you very much, and greetings to listeners. I think I need to commend the parents and the headmaster who actually volunteered to speak out. That's because I have tried talking to headmasters who confide in me, and when I ask them, why don't they come out? One headmaster simply said, "Hey, Prof, you want me to talk? Let me retire peacefully. Why?" So there's a culture of silence. People are zipping their mouths because of what we call intimidation. So that's really, so let's commend these people. And Kojo, looking at the issue, it's very sad. You see, historically, school feeding programs in Ghana have targeted the poor, guided by the principles of reducing hunger and malnutrition among school children. So if the situation on the ground is adding counter to these,
So there you headed a headmaster and a professor of educational leadership talking about the food shortage in senior high schools. But moving on to other stories, government's handling of COVID-19 expenditure is under scrutiny. The Auditor General has, in a special report, detailed various infractions said to have caused the nation to lose millions of cedis. In some instances, monies were either misapplied or used unlawfully. Ambulances paid for are yet to arrive, while some medical facilities bought with public funds have ended up in private facilities. Specifically on COVID-19 vaccine procurement, the Ministry of Health, on behalf of government, paid an amount of $120 million to UNICEF and AVAT for the supply of vaccines. Just 5.8 million doses have come in so far. This is valued at $38.2 million. The ministry has been asked to recover the amount outstanding. Dr. Patrick Kumabwaje has been speaking on this particular matter. We'll be taking you there shortly to pick the live interactions on that. But now let's take you to other stories where we understand that my colleague Mapito CDB is following up on a development having to do with regards to the issue about an expenditure there. Now, okay, so we'll bring you details of that particular story later on, but let's take you to some schools where we understand 40 students have been arrested for vandalism at Krobia Asante Technical and Vocational School in the Ashanti region. The 40 were among scores who went on rampage on campus on Sunday morning, protesting the poor result of their predecessors in their final examination. The institute has since been closed down following a directive from the Ghana TVET service. About 4 government vehicles, including a Mahindra and Isuzu pickup trucks and a Nissan Patrol and a school bus, were vandalized. A Toyota Vate vehicle owned by the senior house mistress was also damaged. The student also turned over another saloon car owned by a teacher. Love News sources say the school store was also invaded by the student, resulting in the destruction of food items and other supplies. The students made unsuccessful attempt to break into some bungalows, but damaged part of the buildings. The police intervened to restore calm on the campus. The Ashanti Regional Director of Education, Dr. Ano Ankra, together with the District Director of Education, have since visited the scene. So let's take you back to the COVID story, where we understand government has paid for some COVID vaccines that have not been brought into the country. Some monies have also been misapplied in terms of COVID expenditure. Dr. Patrick Kumabwaje is Director General of the Ghana Health Service, and he joins us with more on this. Doc, grateful that you could have time to join us. Has this finding come to your attention, and what do you know about the effort to try to retrieve the monies that have been locked up at places where we should have had COVID vaccines from?
Thank you, and good morning to your listeners. Let me just give you the way these procurements are done. We bought about 16.9 million doses of Johnson & Johnson from the ABAT facility, which was an AU intervention at a time when African countries were not getting vaccines. Normally, for vaccines, because of storage and cold chain, you don't take all that you buy at the time. They come in schedule so that as and when you need them and you have the capacity to store them, I mean the cold fridges across the country, then you can take. Otherwise, they'll come and get spoiled, or they come in large numbers, you are not able to deploy, then they expire. So it comes to the schedule. And that is what it is. And so, as we speak now, we have received a little over 6 million doses. We are the ones who are delaying the delivery of the vaccine because of storage, and also since the last few months or a year or so, there have been a lot of donations. There had this small 500 here and there for us to vaccinate. And so we're trying to mop up that so that we can look at the rest. So it's not as if we have just been negligent in trying to look at, but all those things come in terms of schedule. when you procure, there's a schedule. UNICEF comes in because UNICEF has the capacity to procure and manage the logistics of vaccines, which is a very complicated. They've done it for children vaccines over the years, so we always use them to do the facilitation. So they just receive the funds, transfer to the agent, and are able to use their Copenhagen office to manage the cold chain and get to the country. So that's why they come in. Yes.
So what you're saying is that the monies have not been lost. We're only waiting for time for these to come in.
We just have vaccines that we can get, and based on even our gaps that we have over the years, since we don't even know how many doses people are going to need, we still have a large gap that even with this, beyond that, we may still need vaccines. Fortunately, there are a lot of donations here and there that we're using to plug the hole, and it's not because it's been lost. Yes, so we've not received all, but if you have received 16 million at a go, can you imagine what we'll do with it? It will all expire.
Okay, but how do you also explain the instances when ambulances that have been procured have not arrived in the country, as well as medical facilities that have been bought with public funds ending up in private facilities? How do you respond to that one?
Well, I've not read that part of the report. I'm just responding to the vaccine area. And the ministry is going to come up with a comprehensive report, brief statement on the vaccine acquisition. So I would like to say I don't have the details of what you are saying. I would have to appraise myself of that and be able to see how it happened and what are explanations, if any.
But I know that in terms of auditing, the Auditor General gives a chance to the organizations involved to try to offer an explanation. Why didn't this explanation get to the Auditor General?
Well, I mean, they talked about they were given information, but they came with their conclusion. And I'm sure, especially the vaccine, those things may have come. But if you read the recommendation, make effort to look at that. Maybe they think that because of other options, we may not need all the vaccines simply we are paid for it. There's nothing wrong with reopening negotiation, see whether you can use the number that you bought and then get some money back. I can see that in what they are trying to respond to, that maybe we can still take some of the money back and probably do other vaccines or do something else back. But those responses, I believe, were given in terms of all these logistical procurement schedules, and because of the expiry date and the warehouse, then you need to have a schedule that you are able to store. You also don't want to be paying us on when you need it, because you may not have it when you need it. It may not be available when you are going for the next stop. So those are decisions that one may make based on the situation on the ground at the time that these transactions will be taking place. We do that for family planning, we do that for vaccines. If you pay for vaccine, you pay for the year, but they don't come at once. They come in bits, as and when, so that they don't expire and you don't overwhelm your cold chain.
Okay. So what steps have been put in place to ensure that the monies that can be, retrieved are being retrieved?
I believe the statement for the ministry explained that, but I think if the decision is that we want to reduce the quantity we bought, it's a question of reopening negotiations with ABA, see how, based on the contract arrangement, what can be done to look at it.
But looking at where we are now, do you think we have to renegotiate to reduce the quantities because of probably the rate at which we have vaccinated the people?
No, we still have a large number of people who have not taken their second dose. You have only 3 million people who have had their booster. We don't even know, after some time, but based on further studies, whether a second booster will be needed. So you cannot say you don't need vaccine.
You mentioned earlier
that gap that we designed as that, we don't have it because of a bit of the hesitancy. People are very reluctant to take. And so that's why we are doing campaigns to continue to. We still have, we have about 9-10 million people who have had one dose. And they will need, now about 12 million who have just one dose, they will need their second dose. And all that are gaps that are available. So there may be other options of vaccines if those things are open. Those are all that will come together and see, do we still go for the Johnson & Johnson, or we can see whether we can negotiate ourselves out.
Okay. All right. I'm grateful to you, sir, for your time.
You're welcome.
So that's Dr. Patrick Kumabwaji. He is the Director General of the Ghana Service. Now, Joseph Akable is with our research desk, and he joins us with more on this report. And Joe, run us through some of the highlights of this report on COVID-19 expenditure. Government has been directed to recover some $81.8 million worth of vaccines.
And so, Brace, first on the issue regarding the ambulances, which you were trying to get some answers from the Ghana Health Service on, the report indicates that the ministry entered into a contract on December 15, 2021 for the supply of 26 ambulances valued at $4 million. We are told that a little over $600,000 of that amount has been paid, but the ambulances have not been delivered. And so the chief director has been asked to ensure that the ambulances are delivered by March 2023. On the medical equipment angle, these were valued at $110,000 and others which were valued at 7,895 cedis. They were issued to a private hospital, the Christ Leeds and Specialist Hospital. The facility did not serve as an isolation center, neither did we receive any COVID-19 patients. And so the report notes that management could not offer any reason for the infraction. The items could have been utilized in the public health delivery. And so the recommendation is that the chief director should immediately investigate the allocation, and also that the facility should be made to pay for the equipment at the current cost, failing which the amount should be recovered. The final finding that we can touch on has to do with the information ministry. The report indicates that during the review, it came to light that the staff of the ministry and other supporting staff were paid a total amount of 151,500 cedis as COVID-19 risk allowance for coming to work during the lockdown period. You recall there was a period that government imposed lockdown and a lot of people, various professionals, are not allowed to go to work. So because they were going to work, they decided to pay themselves risk allowance. The Auditor General says that this is contrary to the presidential directive, as well as without the approval of the chief of staff. And so the recommendation is to the effect that the amount should be recovered either from the beneficiary staff or the various officials at the helm of affairs be made accountable for those amounts.
All right, grateful to you, Joseph Akable there. Moving on to other stories now. And JoyNews is gathering that the chiefs and the youth group of the Upper District Traditional Council are mounting pressure on the Agunan Kwanta police station this morning to push for the prosecution of an illegal miner they arrested over the weekend in Banso, a farming community in the Hunter West municipality. The suspect was said to have been arrested on Saturday, 21st January 2023, and handed over to the Agunan Kwanta police. We've been joined on the line by Joseph Kwame Amo, spokesperson to the Upper Disco Royal Palace. But grateful that you could join us. What happened on that day when you went to that community?
Thank you for having me. On that fateful Saturday, upon a tip-off, we went straight to the area, and lo and behold, we saw 3 persons. One was operating the excavator. One was also standing by the washing plant machine. And then the foreman. Apparently, they had earlier on gone there to do the excavation, fill the washing plant machine, and then later they will be joined by their workers. So when they saw it, they started running. Honestly, the excavator and then the other operator, they were more than Usain Bolt trying to break the 100-meter record. But we were able to apprehend the foreman. So we brought him to the police station.
Okay.
And he behaved with impunity, which to me suggests that he had the backing of some big men.
Okay.
So we sent him to a police station, we gave our statement, and told them we'll be back. But just yesterday, we heard, or it was rumored or alleged, that bigger hands are behind the scenes operating to get the guy free. So we decided this morning to take action by wearing red bands, red clothes, put on our regalia, and then storm the police station to ensure whether the guy is indeed in their custody or he has been released.
Okay.
We went there, and then the commander told us we should calm down.
first of all, we have to go to the site for inspection. So we went to the site. We took, I think you are conversant with our route.
Mm-hmm.
We don't go through Old Azim Road, but we came through the processing plant at Abmeni to Morrison on Quanta. When we got there, the excavator had been moved from the forest to that junction. The key to the machine has also been removed by the operator and is nowhere to be found. We continued our journey into the forest, and then the washing plant machine has also been moved from the site. You see what is going on?
But when you went down that day, why didn't you take the keys to the excavator?
That's a very good question. We made a mistake. After they had run away, we should have come back to pick the key. But we were overjoyed because we had arrested the foreman.
The foreman.
The foreman.
Mm. If you say he behaved with impunity, what was he saying? What did he do exactly?
The moment in our local and the moment can't take
so to it, he has his papers, and so nobody can do anything. And when you take him to the police station, he will be freed.
Yes.
Okay. So you said when you went there this morning, was he still in custody or he's been let go?
He's there.
He's there.
Yeah. So Commander told us to go to the site first and do some inspections before you come back.
Okay. So once you saw the excavator at the junction, what is the next action that you've done to secure the excavator? What is the police doing?
We want to mount surveillance, and I'm not too sure whether we'll be able to move it. But some technicians say we can just pull some wires and then get it started. So what we're doing it for now, want to get a low bed and then push the excavator on it, and then take it to the police station.
All right. We'll keep an eye on this particular story. I'm grateful that you could join us, sir. Now, moving on to other stories here on News Desk. Business activities are gradually picking up once more after the long Christmas break. So what exactly are people doing in terms of selling and buying? What has changed with all the uncertainties in the economy? Now, my colleague, Mapito CDB, is in and around town to help us get a current feel of the trading and buying activities in town. She is joining us live with updates from the ground. From where you are, what can you report?
Nkrumah Circle, around the Nkrumah Circle, and I'm here to talk to traders and some customers on how business is faring. Let me start with this young gentleman over here who sells some second-hand clothing. Boss, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, madam.
How are you?
I'm cool, madam.
What's your name?
80.
All right, so what do you sell here?
I sell clothes, jeans, t-shirt, Lacoste, everything.
So tell me how business has been so far. I mean, after December, it's January. How is business doing?
Oh, everything is okay. Everything is normal. Things are going well. As for me, the things are going well for me.
Okay, so let's talk about December. You know, like how the sales were as compared to now January.
Oh, December there, you know, as usually everything move fast in December. But by this time, slowly, but it's good. It's good.
A lot of people are complaining that the economy is hard. Are you feeling the impact?
Oh, I'm one person. I don't talk about economy. I don't really depend on economy so much. I think everything.
You know that the dollar and the CD, it's been fluctuating. Has that affected your business in any way?
it affects us a lot. You should say, as they increase or they reduce the dollar, everything go off.
All right, so I also have another gentleman here who also sells jeans and shirts. Boss, good morning.
Yeah, morning.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
What's your name?
My name is Fred.
Yeah, so tell me, what do you sell?
I sell clothes, jeans, t-shirts, round neck, then things, boxer shorts and things.
Yeah. All right, so how has business been going so far?
By His grace, small.
Yeah.
But because of the new year, so I think people are paying school fees and things, so the market is not moving on like December and November last year. So we are understand. Myself, I'm paying school fees.
Yeah.
It's not easy. I've not even paid my own yet, but it's small.
So how many children are you paying for?
Oh, me, I'm paying for one. Yeah.
Okay, and are they in SHS or?
Oh, not. It's just a primary school.
Yeah. But then, so how are you making ends meet? Like in terms of business, is there anything else that you're doing?
Business there tomorrow. If you go to the market to buy the goods, they will say the CFA is going up, the dollar too is going up. Next week, if you go, it is coming down. The following day, going up. It's very. I'm not understand, sir, but we day inside. It's our business. By God's grace, everything will go on.
Okay, so to make your life easier and your business easier, what would you want to happen? What would you want the government to do for you?
Pardon me.
So to make business easier for you, what would you want the government to do to help you? Are there any things that you would want them to implement so that business is easier for you?
Government have to put support. Maybe I want the dollar or the CFA to come down. So if you go market and buy the goods and come, so that the customers too can buy it. If the customers come and you give them price, they will say it's high. It's not us. Because if you go to the market too, the things are going up. So if I resell 10 CD or 20 CD, small profit, so that we will maintain it. So now everybody is busy. Everybody have to be careful, and everything we take thanksgiving to God.
So how much is one jean? So it's January. How much is one jean?
Everyone and then price. Some are 150 CDs, 130 CD. The cost is 120 CD.
And then last year, how much was it?
Last year it was 100 CDs, 120, 100, 120. We used to buy the 100 CDs, 110, so that we sell them 120, 130, small profit. But last 2 years or so, maybe you buy some 70 CD, 80 CD, at least you get small profit. But now it's like chop money. You not even get the money you try to save.
All right. There's also a young student here by the name of Kobe. We're speaking to him earlier, and I think he has run away. But, Mami Pacho, to say, please. All right. So tell us how business is going.
By God's grace, it's going well, but it's not like the previous.
So when you say it's not like the previous, how was it previously?
Oh, the previous, it has been moving fast, but now it's slow, small. But I think maybe it's the, the school people, they have started school, so I think they are buying books and other things. That's why. I sell watches, I sell chains, I sell perfumes and rings, wedding rings and other things.
Since you sell like wedding rings, did you get a lot of customers in December? Because a lot of people got married the last 3 months of the year. So usually, when do your customers come?
They've been coming. It's not like that's what I'm telling you. That it's not. Yes, it's not the same because they are talking about the prices too. It has moved higher than the previous.
So, for example, a watch. How much were you buying the watches before? And how much are they selling for now?
They've doubled it too. At first, those ones we buy it's like 100 cedis. Now it's 1.8, 1.5. And even the one we buy it 1.5, 2.5, 2.2. They've doubled it. Yes, and the perfume too, at first we have been buying it 45, 50, but now some are 100, 150, 95. Yes, the prices are higher now. Yes.
Thank you very much, Mami. Okay, so you've heard from the traders here at the Kwame Nkrumah Circle, and this is how their situation is. This is what reality is for them. Back to you, Kojo Brace, in the studio.
All right, thank you very much. So that's my colleague Mapito CDB there. We'll take a quick break. We'll return with more stories here on News Desk. Hello, good morning. Welcome to the business segment on News Desk with me, Pius Kojo Baka. Chairman of the McDan Group of Companies, Dr. Macaulay, has expressed disappointment in insurers' inability to provide cover for private jets and helicopters in the country. Speaking at the President's cocktail organized by the Chartered Institute of Ghana, the McDan boss said the new private jet services at the airport presents a lot of business opportunities for insurance companies to take advantage of.
My private jet was being procured. It couldn't be insured in Ghana because our aviation sector doesn't take local insurance for international private jets, and I was a bit surprised. If you have called me here today to address you, I expect you to move beyond what you are doing currently. Now, as I speak to you, I have 2 more private jets to insure. This week, I'm insuring one which will fly in on 31st of January. I have an helicopter ride on grounds which must be insured. And none of you have been able to take that up. I've called about 4 insurance companies, and none have been able to competitively convince me as a private individual you can do the job.
The Ghana Investment Promotion Center has disclosed that it will continue to create more B2B opportunities for Ghanaian businesses to interact and share business ideas with their foreign counterparts. This assurance is coming at a time the center is hoping to boost the trade volume between Ghana and Malta this year, despite the current economic challenges. Speaking to Joy Business, Deputy Chief Executive of the GIPC, Yawa Moitini Free, stated that his outfit is poised to generate more local and foreign direct investments into the country this year.
Using platforms like this, where Maltese and Ghanaian businesses are able to interact, converge and talk about commercial opportunities within healthcare, within agriculture, within tourism and all the other sectors under focus, we believe that we can increase the figure of $20 million, which the GIPC has recorded as the total foreign direct investment from Malta since 1994 to date. And so these are some of the strategies, these are some of the platforms that we believe that Ghanaian businesses ought to be taking advantage to interact with their Maltese counterpart to increase that figure, right? B2B sessions, government to government interactions. Already the political side has made a lot of strides. The president has gone to Malta, I think in 2019. Their premier was here, I believe, in 2017. So using that as the anchor, we want to build on the business-to-business interaction between Ghanaian and Maltese. So when you're talking about strategies, I believe that this is one of the most obvious and most eloquent ways that Ghanaian businesses ought to take advantage of the prospects that the Maltese companies bring to Ghana.
And that's it for Business on News Desk. Now, starting this month, customers of the Ghana Water Company should expect erratic flow of water, as the company says it has been forced to ration water supply. In a statement signed by the head of communications, Stanley Mate, the company is faced with water supply challenges with the onset of the dry season. Meanwhile, they are advising individuals to find efficient ways to use water, including the indiscriminate water of lawns with treated water. Let's bring you details of that statement released by the company. Now, according to the statement, with the onset of the dry season, the entire country is expected to experience challenges with water supply because of the depletion of raw water from the various water bodies. As a result, consumers may encounter erratic flow of water in some parts of the country, especially the Greater Accra, Ashanti, Central, Western, and Northern regions. The statement continues to say the management of the Ghana Water Company Limited wishes to assure the consuming public, and it has put in measures to ameliorate the situation. Management therefore wishes to call on all to be part of the solution. Hence, consumers are advised to strictly adhere to the following conservation measures. Now, what are the conservation measures? According to the statement, one of the things you can do to help is to cease indiscriminate watering of lawns with treated water. You have to be moderate use of treated water for car washing by resorting to the use of bucket instead of hosing. Now, shut all taps when not in use. Repair all leakages in your homes, like overflowing reservoirs and dripping taps, valves, among others. The little drops also swell your water bills, they say. Now, they again say that report all burst pipes and leakages immediately to the nearest Ghana Water Company Limited district offices, customer service centers, and fault officers. And report all persons engaged in illegal connections, bypasses, and all malpractices against the Ghana Water Company Limited. You can also send Google GPS locations, pictures, and videos of the burst and leakages on the Ghana Water Company Limited WhatsApp lines 0555 12 33 93 and 0555 15 55 24. WhatsApp information only and not calls. The public can also call Ghana Water Company Limited on these numbers 0207 38 50 89 and 0207 38 50 90. So those are the information that they have been able to provide us that we can help them in this period of dry weather. Moving on to others. So let's go on Zoom now. Head of Public Relations of the Ghana Water Company, Stanley Mate, joins us with more details. Grateful that you have been able to join us. How long are we expecting this to last?
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. I wish I could tell, but for now, because of climatic changes and climate change, as we know, it's a bit difficult to determine whether it would end in a month or two. But all we are saying is that the Ghana Water Company Limited has put in resilient measures, and we also expect that customers and consumers will also play their role so that together we can minimize the impact of the current situation. You realize that trees that give our water bodies cover have all been cut away because of the farming activities. We also are aware that the pollution of our river bodies has silted most of our river bodies, and as such, rate of evaporation is high, and we don't have a huge volumes of water in our river bodies. So it becomes very difficult in these trying times. So we expect everybody to play a role so that at least together we can all manage the situation so that the impact will not be severely felt on us. Thank you.
You talk about the cutting down of trees that give shelter to our water bodies. Why haven't we have that robust policy to ensure that we preserve trees, especially along the river banks?
The Water Resources Commission, together with the Ghana Water Company Limited, under the auspices of the Ministry of Sanitation and Water Resources, have been doing a lot of tree planting along our river bodies. But farming activities and other human activities that pollute our river bodies keep compounding our situation, keep worsening the situation. So we still find ourselves where we find ourselves. But we are hopeful that some of the trees that have been planted could yield some results in the very near future. And year in, year out, day in, day out, we keep planting trees. There are a lot of civil organizations that are also into tree planting. And we are hoping that together we will all do the needful and to save the current situation that we find ourselves in.
Well, we'll plant, but like it has happened, if there's no measure in place to prevent the cutting of trees, especially along the river bodies, they will still cut them. So what are we doing to ensure that cutting or felling of trees along the river bodies are prevented so that we don't find ourselves in this situation that we are in now?
Okay, so in this vein, there are about 2 or 3 ministries working together to ensure that this is done. So the Ministry of Sanitation and Water Resources under Honorable Sisi Dabnadapa, the Ministry of Lands and Forestry, and then civil service organizations, NGOs, and everybody is involved in tree planting. Now, the policies are being laid out by the Water Resources Commission. Okay, and when these policies are passed and into law, and law enforcement agencies are empowered, and then I think we can see some results. So, but currently, I think everything is fine. We are educating a lot of the farmers along our river bodies, and we are hopeful that they'll seize this attitude of theirs. For instance, around Barakese in the Ashanti region, a few months ago, we were there with our sector minister, Honorable Cecilia Gradapa, reformed Otunfo Oseichitu, and he has also gotten involved. And everybody is involved because if that is not done, the situation will be quite dire in the very near future. So everybody is involved, and we are hoping that we should see some results soon.
And I guess, as usual, Galamsey is also playing a role here.
It's a serious part of the process, and with Galamsey, all of us will have to get involved. Okay, the government is involved, media men are involved, everybody will have to get involved. In our own small way, we will advise even our colleagues, our friends who are into these illegal activities to put an end to it. We shouldn't also look at the bigger picture. Even the small things that we can do can help in curbing this menace. So let's all get involved. Let's all use the opportunities that we have, media men, everybody, and then let's put an end to this ekaka.
Okay. Honorable Stanley Martin, I'm grateful that you could join us. He is head of communications for the Ghana Water Company Limited. And that's how we wrap up the bulletin for you today. There's more news on myjoyonline.com. My name is Samuel Kojo. Do enjoy the rest of our shows and have a great morning.